When the Taliban took over Kabul in August, they promised that things would be different. The world assumed this meant a less hardline approach to social issues, particularly women's rights. Despite PR images flooding social media, there is enough evidence that things have not really changed. Recently, the United Nations, while raising deep concern on the brutal crackdown of Afghan people by the Taliban forces, highlighted the urgent need to unite against the group, a report.
Until a few weeks ago, the Taliban were promising the youth a better future, freedom for the media, and general amnesty for enemies. But everyone knows what happened next. Journalists were beaten to death, all the female TV anchors were sacked, and the women who tried to protest were publicly thrashed with belts. Those who speak out against the Taliban are being brutally killed. As per a shocking video which is doing rounds on social media, the Taliban recently executed a child in Takhar province of Afghanistan after they suspected him to be the son of a member of the resistance force. In another incident, the Taliban hanged a dead body from a crane parked in a city square in Afghanistan in a gruesome display that signaled the hardline movement's return to some of its brutal tactics of the past. Every day, common Afghans are witnessing the brutal reality of the Taliban regime, and UN and other world institutions are taking note of it. The 48th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council on the grave humanitarian situation in Afghanistan has expressed concern at violations and abuses of people's rights in the Taliban-controlled country.
Taliban are actively hunting, torturing, and killing ex-military and government officials. Women are beaten up in the streets who dare to raise their voice. Contrary to Afghan traditions, women are forced to wear full black hijab. They are barred from work and education. Ethnic and religious minorities are persecuted and humiliated. Freedom of expression is stifled as journalists are prohibited and even tortured while covering protest. War crimes and crimes against humanity are reported in Panjshir. While supporting the people of Afghanistan, the international community should raise pressure on the Taliban to respect basic fundamental rights, the rights of women, and respect the democratic institutions as guaranteed by the international law and UN conventions and treaties.
The horrific scenes in Afghanistan are enough to show that the Taliban have returned with the same extremist and violent mindset. When the gun-toting Taliban forces are facing a recognition challenge, their supporter Pakistan is hoping for miracles from the insurgent group. Islamabad, which aided the Taliban's return to power, is now continuously urging the world to engage with the outfit. Pakistan wants to use the Taliban government as its asset and seeks to destabilize the region for its short-term benefit. The Pakistani establishment has completely ignored the concern that supporting the Taliban will have far-reaching effects. The infection of radicalization from Taliban is bound to travel, and it could prove highly detrimental for the neighboring countries. Hence, at various world forums, voices are being raised against Pakistan, while the United States has already made it clear that it will review its ties with the South Asian country in light of its double dealing. The recent UN session on Afghanistan also highlighted Pakistan's unholy alliance with the Taliban and the possible terror threats emerging from such a union.
Pakistan, a state sponsor of terrorism, is supporting Afghan Taliban and other terrorist groups to destabilize the region. It will result in increased radicalization and ISIS activity in Indian Kashmir, Central Asia, and Gulf.
As per its latest review, seen by the Bloomberg News Agency, Pakistan saw at least 35 terror attacks in August alone, the highest since February 2017. Most of these attacks have been attributed to Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is believed to have been encouraged by the developments next door. Therefore, Islamabad, which is advocating Taliban's move, should now introspect and reconsider its strategy. Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan has a stated aim to overthrow the government in Islamabad by waging a violent military campaign against the state. Islamabad should not forget that its ride on the Taliban could prove self-destructive in the long run.